Hey everybody, it is Mike from Baltimore Rides. It is Thursday, the 22nd, about 5 p.m. Just touching base, kind of the beginning of my day. I wanted to get you guys when I had a little bit of sunlight. It definitely makes the camera quality better for you guys watching at home. But just want to give you a heads up. Last night I drove till about midnight, 1 o'clock. I was dead tired. I'd been up all day. I had to go somewhere during the daylight hours, which is normally my sleeping mode. And, you know, it just kind of drained me. I didn't really get a chance to get a nap before I hit the road for work. And I did a couple runs, finished the night at about $110, had a couple local hops in the city, and then took a DC ride from the Orioles game all the way down to DC with surge pricing and boost. So that worked out in my favor. It was a nice, expensive ride. But just want to give you guys a touch base. The Facebook page is up. It's at Baltimore Rides. The YouTube channel is up. If you guys are already watching this video, you know about that. I do have a web address, which is just www.baltimorerides.com. But right now, it's just pointing to the Facebook page. I've got to get somebody to help me design an actual web page, and that will happen at some point in the near future, but it just hasn't happened yet. I'm at a very accelerated pace trying to get all this stuff up and running so that I can really be putting this information out there for you guys. That's really what this is all about, is just me chronicling my days, my experiences, and the things that work for me so that I can then share that information with you guys to help make your learning curve that much easier. So with that being said, the GoPro camera finally arrived. It's a big fiasco. I'm not going to go into details, but it was just a hot mess. Ended up having to go to Walmart and get an extra mounting kit. It did not have all the parts I needed, and I didn't know anything about what parts I really needed until that time. But now it's here. It's a GoPro 3. I've got the remote set up. It's down here by my little portable charger cigarette lighter thingy, because it was dead as a doornail when it got shipped to me. The charger or the battery in the GoPro itself, and then the battery in the remote. I think the remote's going to be handy in the sense that I won't have to fiddle with the camera while I'm recording people. I'll just be able to click a button on my key fob. But I might go through the GoPro app. I'm just curious to see how easy that is. And how subtle it is. That's the other piece, because if I get some really great entertaining stories, those are the customers that I want to record. I don't want to record somebody that's sleeping in the back of my car for 20 minutes. And that's kind of what happened last night. The lady that drove all the way to DC with me just basically took a nap. She just crashed. She was tired. She'd worked all day and then had to entertain at an Orioles game for a business entertaining night out with the customers, I think it was, she said. And she just literally put earbuds in and said, "Can you turn the music down a little bit? And I'm going to take a snooze." And within minutes, she was just fast asleep. And so, I listened to music on my earpiece. That way I can listen to music through my phone app and not bother my customers when they're in quiet mode. And that was that. So there's no sense in recording that. It's not entertaining for the the kind of Uber confessions a la HBO taxi cab confessions that I think I want to post. I do get some great conversations. I get some really funny people. I get some really great dialogue. Some of it's probably R-rated. Some of the folks that are a little bit toasted in my car, they're a little bit drunk or blitzed or whatnot, however you want to call it, lit, as my daughter would probably say. Modern vernacular is not my thing. I'm 40 years old, and I'm kind of an old fart to begin with. But yeah, whatever you want to call it. I get some people that are just wasted, and they obviously have no filter. They say anything, and if they've already got, kind of a sailor's mouth, then so be it. And, look, I can cuss with the best of them. I'm trying to keep these videos, kind of G-rated. I don't really want to drop the F-bomb as much as possible. And, I will, if I'm frustrated and if something bad happens and I really want to share it with you guys, I probably will. But for the most part, I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it adds anything to to the experience for you guys. So that being said, I have a learning curve. The camera's right there. It's kind of like right above you guys. This is actually my phone. I've got that on a mount as well, so that it's within eye shot of me when I drive, kind of right below my rear view mirror. It doesn't block visibility nearly as much as people think. You just kind of get to learn to look left, look right, and you don't really even notice it's there anymore. The camera's way up high by the top of the vehicle. That way it's completely out of line of sight. Obviously the customers can still see it. I'm not looking for the stealth mode. You know, I have no qualms about letting them know that they're being videotaped, because I feel that from a safety standpoint, if somebody in my car is a little bit feisty, I can document that. But also, I don't think anybody will care. You know, my customers are great. They're all good people. Very, very rarely do I get a complaint. I've gotten some weird ones. Every now and then I get a professionalism complaint, and I think that that's a common misconception. I'm going to talk about that for a second. So here's the process with Uber, and I think Lyft is different. If you have a group of people, let's say you got 3 different people in the car, all as a cluster, and they all want to be dropped off at different addresses, this is how it's supposed to work. It's supposed to work where they put in address number 1, we go there, and instead of me completing the ride, they click the change address button. We go to the next address. Again, somebody gets out. We hit change address again. We go to the 3rd address, and then I finally hit complete ride. And Uber calculates all 3 of those rides from their start to finish, or point A to point B to point C to point D to whatever. That's how it's supposed to work. Here's how it really works. Hi, like we're going to so-and-so street, but on the way, you know, like you're gonna just drop off my friend over at, you know, this street. It's not that far out of the way, and I'll just like show you where to turn. Okay, and that doesn't sound terrible, right? I know the city pretty well at this point. I'm pretty comfortable in, you know, Fells Point, Federal Hill, Canton. You know, for the most part, if you took me into one of those areas and said, hey, you know, we're going to Toon Street, but I need to drop somebody off on Fayette on the way, I could probably figure that out. Problem occurs when it's 2 in the morning. Those folks that just said that are toasted, having a great conversation. They're chatting up a storm in the back of my minivan, not looking out the tinted windows. And next thing you know, I'm following the map, because that's kind of what I do. It's obviously that's what my rate is based on, is the mileage that the map thinks I should take. So I'm using that as a guide when at all possible. And so in the back seat says, oh, you were supposed to turn left there because it'll drop them off here. And then all of a sudden, the wheels fall off the bus. And I've got to turn. And if it's a one-way street neighborhood, I've got to make a whole lefty, 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 or righty, 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 3 turns to make a loop to get back to where you started. And now all of a sudden, I'm minutes and minutes and minutes into this trip that could have been quick and easy. So what I've been doing is, when somebody gets in the car and says that, I say, hey, let's do this real quick. What's the first address you'd like to go to? I can change it in the app to show that address, or you can. Whatever's easier for you. And here's where I get some pushback. Oh, well, you don't have to do that. It's no big deal. And I tell people, I live in Westminster, Maryland. I am not from Baltimore City. I'm familiar with Baltimore City, and I have obviously a navigation system that will help me out. But I don't know the neighborhoods as well as you guys do that live in those neighborhoods. So to me, you know, it's easier if I can just use the navigation system as a guide, and you don't have to worry about backseat driving me. And most people are like, okay, no problem, let's change it. Or I'll change it for them, because I can type it in from my side at the driver's side. But once in a blue moon, I get those folks that are a little bit feisty or strong-willed, who don't want to do it that way. And they want to do it the way I don't want to. And maybe that's because they think it'll be cheaper. I don't know. It probably isn't, because miles are miles. You know, if I drive 11 miles, I drive 11 miles. It's going to charge them basically $11 or whatever it is. It's a little bit less than $1 per mile with Uber in Baltimore, but you know the point. If I drive 9 miles, it's going to charge them 9 miles. So it's not going to change how much distance is driven. And honestly, it might shorten it because I might be able to pre-navigate by using the map as opposed to waiting for them to tell me turn left, turn right, turn left, now stop. So I've gotten a couple complaints for that reason. Well, it doesn't say that, just as professionalism, but I can only imagine that's what it is. I'm super friendly, super nice, joking, polite. You know, I don't get into lippy things. I don't believe in all that nonsense. There's definitely those folks on Uber that are yelling at people and cussing at people and being nasty, and I don't do that. And that's just me. And I do warn people about the barf fee. You know, I tell them, look, if you're really inebriated and anybody in the car thinks they're going to barf, there's a huge cleanup fee. You know, it's awful. It's expensive. So please, 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 please warn me if you feel like you're going to barf. Sit next to a window, or tell me to pull over, because bad things happen to everybody. I have to stop in my night. I have to try and clean up my vehicle. I might even end my evening and not be able to do any more jobs after that for the night. So, you know, that's maybe another area where I'm just being upfront with people, trying to educate them early about what the risks are if they're inebriated. And I feel that's a good public service announcement, but maybe I'm being too direct at 1 in the morning. I don't know, for somebody that's a little bit toasty. I got a cleanliness complaint the other day. I don't know, I vacuumed the van basically before every ride. I got a little mini vacuum thingamajiggy in the trunk that I can charge here in the car with the converter. And it does a pretty good job. And then about once a week I go to the gas station and I use that super powered vacuum that'll like suck the skin off your face, and which really gets good into the carpet of the car and gets up the little bit of dusties. I live by Febreze. If you guys can't see that, there's my my public service announcement for Febreze. They do not pay me for that. I just swear by the stuff. A little squirt into each seat at the beginning of your night, and then after you have a funky or a strong smelling customer, goes a long way. You don't know how many people compliment me on how nice my car smells, and it ain't rocket science, folks. It's just Febreze. But that's that. So, you know, you're going to get feedback from people. It's a reason to get better. I'm a 4.85 overall rating. I have something like 700-800 rides under my belt. I have 300 plus 5-star ratings. You know, so I'm up there. I may not be top dog, but I'm definitely up there in service quality, which is a huge deal to me. I came from retail, so customer service is what it's all about. I don't think people turn down drivers because of their rating. I mean, maybe it happens, but I don't know. I mean, if you need a ride at 1 in the morning, you're just taking the first Uber driver that accepts it. I think that's kind of how that really works, but you never know. So that's my strategy, is to be as amenable as possible. I did get some 6-foot charger cords. This is a long video. It's like 13 minutes already. I got some 6-foot charger cords for the Android and iPhone at Walmart. They were cheap. They were like $5 a piece. But this way they run from the inverter through my, you know, the little console between the driver's seat and the passenger seat, and they fit nicely right behind me, where the backseat passengers can get to them. And I just kind of twisted them together, you know, the little twisty tie thing that comes in the packaging. I used that to twist both cords close together, you know, about a couple inches apart from the tip, so that they don't get all wound up together. They don't end up getting like stepped on or, you know, anything like that. And then that way there's no complaints. And one's white, one's black. I think white is Android and black is iPhone. I probably should have flipped it around because white is really the iPhone color, but I screwed that one up. You know, shit happens. Ooh, I said a bad word. So that's kind of where we are. So what I'll be doing is I'll be doing these portrait, you know, face front monologue style videos, and then if I get any exciting stuff on the GoPro, I will splice it in at the end using like VidTrim or one of those video editing apps through my phone, because there is a way to get my GoPro stuff into my smartphone. It's doable. I just have to figure out how. So that's it. We're going to wrap it up tonight. I will not be on the road tomorrow, Friday the 23rd, which is bizarre, but a buddy of mine is getting married It's a big deal, and he's one of my closest friends. Love him to death. Ben, if you hear this or you're watching the video, this is all about you, bud. So congratulations to my buddy Ben. He's getting married. He's kind of the young buck in our herd of my circle of friends, my close circle of friends. But congratulations to him. His bride-to-be is a very, very nice lady. He's very, very lucky. And that's all I got to say about that. So I will be off the road tomorrow because I will be at his wedding. I definitely want to be there to help him celebrate that significant milestone. Be back on the road Saturday. And actually, you know what? I might be on the road tomorrow night if the wedding gets out early. I mean, they said the reception and parties wraps up around 10-ish. I probably will not drink at this. I'm not going to lie. I would love to drink a little bit. But the wife is staying home with the kiddies, so I will be flying solo, which means I'd be driving myself home, and I'm not doing that. So that's that. So that means I will be sober leaving there. And, at 10, 11 o'clock, who knows? I might just get up the nerve to say, let's turn on the app for a little bit and see what Frederick is like, because the wedding's in Frederick. It could be an exploratory adventure. You never know. I might discover uncharted territories that I haven't been to yet. Because to me, Frederick looks to be quiet. I don't see any surge ever there. I never see anything on the map for Frederick. And that tells me that it's not a big Uber destination spot. Right now, Towson, Baltimore, BWI, a little bit of Annapolis, and kind of northern Baltimore, Parkville, Timonium, Lutherville. Those are the hot spots. If you're driving and you're hearing this and you made it 16 minutes into this video of me rambling, listen up. Those are the places you want to go. Rewind 30 seconds back and listen to that again, because that's where the surge is. That's where there's always customers that need to be driven around. And that's how you make your money. You got to be in you got to fish where the fish are. I am a huge Deadliest Catch fan. I've been watching it since the very first season. Just love the show to death. I have not watched this season at all. I'm not going to lie. Sorry, guys. But just too much stuff going on, and I can't really commit to stuff like that when I'm working nights. So I don't watch a whole lot of TV, period, anymore, which is probably healthy. But I really loved the idea of the show. I thought it was a great kind of reality show with a different angle. And, it's taught me that fishing is a lot about knowing your location, knowing where what you're trying to catch is, which I'm obviously trying to catch riders, and that kind of stuff. So we're going to wrap it at that. It's Thursday night. Wish me luck, everybody, and I will post again soon. Later.